Welcome to a few moments together on the Parsha. This Shabbos we have the privilege of reading two Parshios, Vayakhel and Pekudai, and of course Chazak. It's also Parshas Hachodesh, in which we have Mevorchim Hachodesh Nissan, which of course we hope will bring a geula during our time, just as it did in the time that Klal Yisrael left Mitzrayim. At the beginning of the Parsha, it talks about the building of the Mishkan and the laws of Shabbos. And when it talks about the law of Shabbos, it says, Lo seva'aru eish b'chol moshvosechem b'yom haShabbos. You're not allowed to burn fire in your house, in all your dwellings, on the day of Shabbos. Why particular fire was singled out was the subject of a previous video. I'd like to focus today on the way the Torah puts the terminology of one should not burn fire in your house on Shabbos. The Shloh HaKadosh came along and he said, the Torah is trying to tell us that the day of Shabbos specifically, it's not only a day of rest in a physical way, but it's also an emotional and spiritual day of rest. And therefore, the eish, the fire of anger, lo seva'aru eish, b'chol moshvosechem b'yom haShabbos. Don't allow anger to enter into your home on Shabbos. Many times because of the anxiety to bring in the Shabbos, or for the fact that there's closeness among family members that may normally not be in such close proximity, there's an opportunity for anger, and the Shloh says, Lo seva'aru eish b'chol moshvosechem b'yom haShabbos. Be especially careful and watchful not to allow anger to invade your house on Shabbos. That's one approach. The Chassam Sofer has another approach, and he says that all week long, what we're supposed to do is cook ourselves up and get the fire of love for Hashem and for the Shabbos during the weekdays. But when it comes Shabbos itself, lo seva'aru, don't try to get the fires of closeness to Hashem begin on Shabbos. You should begin it way before. Begin it on Sunday to prepare for Shabbos. Get the fire of desire, of love for Shabbos to start on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, all the days of the week. Don't wait for the last minute to get the love of Shabbos going when Shabbos finally comes. Shabbos itself, connected with fire, has led to a number of fascinating stories over the years. There's a famous story about Rav Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld Zal, who was the Rav Harashi of Yerushalayim immediately following World War I. In his neighborhood in Yerushalayim, he was known, and throughout the world actually, as a very strong advocate for the observance of Shabbos. He was known as a kanoi, one who was very zealous for the observance of Shabbos. He was once told that in his immediate neighborhood, a door or two away from his home, there was a fella who lit a fire and was cooking on Shabbos. So he immediately put on his Shabbos cloak and his Shabbos hat, and he immediately ran to the door of the house in which he saw that the chimney was billowing smoke and the smells of cooking were taking place, and he barged into the house without knocking on the door, and he started screaming about, it's Shabbos, Shabbos. You're not allowed to desecrate the Shabbos. And the lady of the house is one of these very proper maskilim, one of these very proper illuminated or enlightened people who didn't keep the Shabbos. And she says, Rabbi Sonnenfeld, is that nice that you just barge into a house? You don't knock on a door? You don't say, please, may I enter? And Rabbi Yosef Chaim said to her, when there's a danger of life because there's a fire raging in somebody's house, do you think the firemen are going to come knock on the door when they come to put out the fire? You don't go for niceties when it's a matter of pikuach nefesh, of saving the soul of the Jewish people. That was the way Rabbi Yosef Chaim understood Lo seva'aru eish b'chol moshvosechem b'yom haShabbos. We're not necessarily in the level of Rabbi Yosef Chaim to go and do things like that, but it's important to keep in mind how the protection of the Shabbos is to take place by not allowing anger or discord or physical fire to burn in our homes on Shabbos. I want to wish everyone a wonderful, wonderful Shabbat Shalom and Varach, a good Shabbos. In our community, I want to give a special shout out and a mazel tov to the Badners on the Sheva Brachas of their daughter, Rami Avrami Badner and his wife, and of course to the Chassan Yisrael Shmuel and Nami Sarah on the beautiful Simcha that's going to be held this weekend. And we hope to be able to share Simchas for all of Klal Yisrael. We should only have Simchas amongst the Jewish people. Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach.